Hey, what's going on, comic fans? Mr. Q Comics with another haul video here. So this is going to be a few different things I picked up from eBay. These are actually really old. It's, I think, three different sellers I bought from probably months ago. I kind of went on a buying run on eBay, and I kind of put a bunch of stuff in a box and just kind of neglected to get through it. So it's a couple of cool small hauls, but some pretty neat stuff. So yeah, just wanted to get to putting them away and figured I'd do a video on what I picked up here. So the first seller I bought from is actually I think it was a best offer lot. I can't remember. There was a Batman lot I was bidding on. Just some Copper Age Batman stuff. And I think they had a couple of buy it nows with best offers. So I kind of combined a bunch of stuff here. I'm not going to show the Batman books, but I picked up a couple copies of Spawn #8 in really good shape, high grade, near mint condition. I just dig the Spawn covers, the McFarlane, homage to Spider-Man #1, and they were only, I think it worked out to like $250 or something. I can't remember. It's so old now I can't even look up the full details. But I've been stocking up on Spawn when I'm finding it cheap, just because it seems like it's been a lot more buzz about the Spawn books. Definitely those ones with the low print runs, but I dig the early McFarlane stuff, and of course I love Spider-Man, so I've been picking up the homage covers. Haven't got any of those really cool homage covers like the Spider-Man 301 and stuff like that, but still cool for a couple of bucks. They also had these, so I grabbed them. I think they were $5 each. Archer and Armstrong #0 from Valiant. I was not ever into Valiant comics, but I do watch some videos with some fans of Valiant, and they always seem to really love Archer and Armstrong. This is the first appearance of Archer and Armstrong. Barry Windsor Smith cover. I remember when Valiant came out as a kid. I just never got into it at all. But I see these going for 10 plus, and I think there's a lot of people speculating on what's going to happen with the Valiant universe. I know there's a Bloodshot movie. Supposedly, so we'll see what happens. For a few bucks, I figured you can't go wrong to grab a couple copies, so I was happy to get those for a few bucks. All right, so let's jump into the first. I was buying some really random lots, people kind of mislisting or listing, comic books and doing auctions like that, and kind of taking a chance on a few things. So I found this lot. I think it was 20 books. And I think I won it for $34. I think it was one of those auctions ending in the middle of the day, which I love to kind of look at when I'm sitting at the office, because they're just, sometimes people list things ending at bad times where you're not going to get a lot of people sniping and stuff like that. So there were a couple books in the lot I wanted. So I was happy to get it for whatever it was, $34. I can't remember the shipping. It wasn't much. And I'll say, again, eBay's hit or miss. This seller, I remember, it was packed horribly. No bags and boards on most of the stuff. A lot of the stuff was loose. But still, it was so cheap, I didn't make too much of a stink. I think I ended up getting a bit of a partial refund because a couple of the books were stuck together. They had something on them, and it was ridiculous packing. One of these sellers who just doesn't deal in comics and doesn't care about packing at all. So, anyways, still some decent books. Super Mario Brothers #3, not in the best of shape, but still cool stuff if you're a fan of the 80s. I am not much into the Dell series, but War Stories Combat. I think this is #34, and I think it's like a reprint of like #8 from the Silver Age, something like that. I know that happens a lot with Dell. It's not even numbered on the cover, but I know a lot of the Dell books, they're kind of retelling. Same with like the Classics Illustrated. I noticed there's multiple numbers of the same book, and I'm not quite up to speed on those, but still pretty cool Bronze Age stuff. Again, not into the Harvey comics and stuff like this, the kind of funny strips titles, but Sad Sack #183 from Harvey Comics, not in terrible shape. Donald Duck, I don't know, I think it's 103, I'm not sure. It's pretty beat up, but Bronze Age, Gold Key. Again, not typically my cup of tea. I'd be, if I found some of the older Golden Age stuff, that would be pretty cool, but typically not the type of stuff I hold on to for my personal collection, though it's still cool to get. Golden Age, this was pretty cool. I forget what number this is. I hadn't even seen this title. Little Iodine. What number is this? I can't remember what issue it is. This might have been like 28, something like that. Again, not on the cover, but this was in surprisingly good shape. This has got to be a solid mid-grade book. So, and I think this was from like 1957. So, yeah, pretty cool to get a Golden Age book in that good of shape. All right, on to kind of the stuff that's more in my, wheelhouse here in terms of interest. Some Superboy, number 152 and 150. They're not in great shape, but some Neil Adams cover work. I don't have a lot of Superboy. I think I actually have both of these issues, but not bad. Action Comics, number 426. I think this is a Nick Cardy cover. It's pretty beat up, but some Bronze Age action. He also had Action Comics number 328. Some Silver Age. I think this is Kurt Swan interiors and George Klein cover. Or maybe, I'm sorry, it's Kurt Swan and George Klein on the cover. I'm not 100% sure. But again, DC stuff, especially action, Superman, not typically in my interest range, but still pretty cool. Again, the lot was dirt cheap, so I really got it for these last few books. Avengers number 65. As a Marvel guy, just always picking up any Marvel Age Silver stuff. Again, this one's pretty beat up too, but still not bad. And these last two are what I really wanted out of the lot. Batman number 208, 80-page giant. So this one's cool. It's got a lot of the all of the Batman, the female villains here. Poison Ivy on the cover, which looks like a shot from the first appearance. I can't remember what issue that is, but yeah, pretty cool book. Not in the best of shape, but this will definitely go in my personal collection. For DC, I do like to hold on to Batman, so I was definitely happy to get that. And probably the best book for me out of the lot, Avengers number 58, which is the origin of Vision. It's got some crap all over the bottom here, and it's definitely not in great shape. I think I bought this one once before, but when I got it from the seller, it was like it was horribly chipping and spine splits, and it was like falling apart, which the guy hadn't described at all, so I ended up returning it. But yeah, pretty cool. I'd say minor key. John Buscema art here, so happy to get that. Again, this stuff, there was a bunch of other stuff, a handful of kind of beat up Copper Age stuff that I'm not going to show, but I was happy to get these for these last couple of issues for what I paid. Again, it was like $34 for the lot, so it worked out to a little over, I can't even remember what it worked out to, but it was cheap. I thought it was worth it for sure. So, all right, the next lot, this was, again, random lot. The way the guy listed it wasn't clear what was in it. It was just like Transformers books or something like that, and it ended in the middle of the afternoon. I was the only one to bid on it because he had kind of a, I guess you'd say it wasn't a high starting price, but the way he listed it, it wasn't clear what you were getting, so I took a shot. I think I ended up getting the lot for $26. It's a stack. It's all Transformers from the 80s, so if you're an 80s fan, child of the 80s, you love the Transformers. So yeah, I was happy to get this. It was like 29 Transformers books. So starting with, we'll go backwards here. Issue 29, which I think is the first team appearance of Scraplets and the Triple Changers. There's so many Transformers teams and characters. So I was surprised how many, key issues there were in this. Packing was pretty decent on this. This is, again, a seller who didn't seem to sell a ton of books. No descriptions on condition. They just listed them as like, I read them once and packed them away. So I knew it was kind of going to be hit or miss. I figured buying it, I'll be happy if they're in the mid-grade fine to very fine range. So most of them are probably pretty decent. Most of them are, I would say, at least very fine. There's definitely a couple that are beat up, but definitely happy with them. So get 28 as well. 27. 26, which is marked as a minor key. I think it's the funeral of Optimus Prime. Number 25, which is a newsstand here. This is the first Predacons. Number 24, which is the first appearance of the Protectobots and the death of Optimus Prime. 23. Number 22, which is the first Stunticons. A lot of these are newsstands, I noticed too, which is pretty cool. 21 is the first team appearance of the Aerial Bots and the Sling Bots. There's 20, again, another newsstand. I'm always surprised with Transformers. You know, they're usually pretty pricey when I see them in local shops. Same with G.I. Joe. I like to buy G.I. Joe and Transformers because those are probably two of my favorite cartoons growing up. But they're usually pretty pricey, so I don't want to spend too much money on them. But number 19, which has got to be one of my favorites. This is the first appearance of Omega Supreme. This was one of my favorite toys as a kid. If anyone had this, this was the one he transformed him into, like he was a track and a tank, a motorized tank. It was so awesome as a kid. I ended up selling my Omega Supreme a couple years ago. It was all, the battery compartment was rusted out, but still he was in the box. So I'd drawn all over the box and stuff, but it's still, I think I got like $150 for it. So Transformers still hot. Any of that stuff from the 80s, I was shocked how much money people were paying for that stuff. But yeah, definitely happy to get that. 18 as well. Again, another newsstand. I don't think that one's a key. 17, which is like Key Collector, had multiple first appearances on this. I'm not even going to try and go through it. Same with 16. Many first appearances. Too many to list for sure. Oh no, sorry. That not 16. I don't think 16 was a key. It was 15 here. 14 was the other one that had a bunch of multiple firsts on it. So I think most of these are actually newsstand, which I didn't realize. So that's always cool. 13, 12, another newsstand, and 11, another one of my favorites, Jetfire. This was the die-cast one. Looked like a Robotech toy. Definitely one of my favorites as a kid. Came like two styrofoam packs or like sleeves in the box, and yeah, this one was super cool. I ended up selling this as well. I had it in the box, and this is one of the few I kind of wish I kept. I didn't hold on to my Transformers just because, man, I found they were like easy to break as a kid, and of all the toys, they probably weren't my favorite. They're probably my least favorite, but still really cool to have the comics for them anyways. More interested in having the comic books than the toys themselves. So number 10, which is the first Constructicons, which is always cool. This one's really beat up. Number 9, it's got all kinds of stains and stuff. It's the first Circuit Breaker. Same with number 8, which I think is the first full appearance of the Dinobots. This one's in terrible condition. But I definitely loved the Dinobots as a kid. I remember them clearly. I did not have any of the toys, but my buddy did. So I always loved going over there and playing with his. I think it was Grimlock, the T-Rex there, that I loved the most. Yeah, definitely one of my favorites from the Transformers. Number 7, which is in pretty good shape. Number 6, first Josie Beller. I don't even remember who the heck that is, honestly. I remember watching the cartoon religiously. I remember when the movie came out when I was a kid, which was, you know, oh, that was so amazing as a kid. I remember they swore in it too, and that was like such a big deal. And I think Megatron or Galvatron flips him on the bird or something in the movie. I always remember that for some reason. Number 5 is a cool painted cover by Alan, I'm going to butcher it, Cooperberg. I'm not sure. It is really cool, though. Number 4 is the first Shockwave and the first Dinobots cameo. Gotta love number 3, of course. Crossover with Spidey in the black suit. You can't beat that. That's fantastic. I definitely love that. Number 2, which is going to be the second appearance of Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Starscream. And of course, I had to work backwards just to save the best for last. Not 1, but 2 copies of number 1, so I was extremely psyched about that. Got a newsstand copy of the first print. The direct edition is the 3rd printing. I had no idea there were multiple printings of this until I started opening them up and going through them. So really happy to have this. I really only ever wanted to get a copy of #1 in my collection. And my local shop has had multiple copies, and they're always like 30 to 40 bucks, which I don't want to spend for, an 80s book. But to get the whole lot for 26, it was 26 bucks. I can't remember what the shipping was. So, I mean, it probably worked out to maybe $1 a piece, because I think he threw in a stack of other books as well, some random Copper Age stuff, some other, I think like the Mask miniseries, another great 80s toy line was in there as well. So that is it, guys. I'm super happy to get the Transformers around. I mean, that is complete 1 through 29 for $1 a piece. Can't go wrong. None of them are in, near mint condition, but I am super happy to have those for my collection. Especially at least the early ones here, the Spider-Man cameo, #1, #2, the first appearances of those characters that I loved growing up will definitely stay in my collection. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And as usual, guys, happy hunting to everyone out there. Thanks.